Am I the jerk for showing my twin sister's OnlyFans to our parents? I, 18 female, and my identical twin sister, also 18 female, obviously, have always had a tumultuous and competitive relationship. We've always fought over everything, guys, clothes, friends, etc. But our relationship came to a halt a few weeks ago when a mutual guy friend of ours sent me a link to an OnlyFans profile, with an attached message that stated "this you?" Confused, I clicked on the link and was shocked to discover that the profile belonged to my twin sister. The profile picture was very clearly a scantily clad image of her, and the username was my nickname that literally everyone in my life uses. I asked our friend about it and he told me that he had discovered the profile through Twitter and then subscribed to the profile, which included dozens of videos of her doing a broken bar, spicy things to say the least, solo and with partners, all of which with her face showing. I was floored and, in a fit of rage, showed the profile to our parents. I mean, a broken bar, literally anyone who saw that profile that knows us would immediately assume that it's me, considering she's basically going by my name. Our parents forced her to delete the profile and she hasn't spoken to me since, claiming that I not only ruined her main source of income, but also betrayed her trust. However, I think that she betrayed my trust by going by my nickname. Am I the jerk? Not the jerk. She exploited your identity for profit. She's lucky you only told your parents, instead of suing her. You are not the jerk. My sister used my identity and I confronted her and took my old ID away. She then went to the DMV and got an updated ID with a new picture. She then got drunk and hit a cop car coming out of the bar. She ended up with a felony warrant, but not really. Why? She used my name, not hers. I got the felony warrant. If you don't nip this in the bud, be prepared for a lifetime of being blamed for what your sister did. P.S. I am not a twin, so thank God the cop was honest and said, "That's not the woman who hit my car. How did she get your ID and who is it?" I told them I thought it was my sister and showed them her picture. She went to prison instead of me. I was a single mom of 2 children under 5 and innocent, and my mom still said, "Your sister has a long record and you have none. Can't you take the blame for this one? I'll watch your kids until you get out of jail." Don't listen to the people saying you are a jerk. I've been where you are. You did the right thing, not the jerk. Am I the jerk for yelling at my ex and telling her to stop trying to make our kids perform for her after the death of her husband? My ex-wife and I share 2 children. Our daughter is 13 and our son is 11. She was remarried for 7 years and has 2 children with her late husband. He died a week ago. My kids were not close to the man. He was a harder. And the kids found him overly strict, and I agree, and they didn't like being around him. The relationship at best was strained, but they confided in me over the years that they hoped their mum would leave them. She loved the guy though, and when he died last week she was a mess. Our kids were with me when it happened and she wanted to see them, so I brought them over. They comforted their mum and she told them, repeatedly, it was okay to cry, it was okay to miss him, that they were all going to miss him. The kids said nothing. She kept repeating it. I told her I thought the kids got it. When the kids saw their mum again, she was halfway through planning the funeral and asked if they would be able to do a reading or something for the funeral. The kids said they wouldn't be able to. She was with them a while and then said, since they weren't crying much, maybe they could take a reading and see how they did on the day. Kids told me about it when I spoke to them and they asked if I could talk to their mum. I told my ex not to force the reading. The funeral day came. I showed up for my kids. They were hanging back with me a lot, and they told me their mum kept watching them, which I witnessed myself. For the funeral I sat behind them since she wouldn't let them sit with me. She told us that all her husband's kids should be seated up front, and I didn't have the heart to tell her they weren't his kids on the day of her husband's funeral when she was such a mess. So I bit my tongue and supported my kids. It was after the service when everything went down. The kids came to sit in my car for a while and we were laughing about something. Ex came over and asked how they could be laughing when they had just buried their stepdad, and why did they show no grief at all over the loss of the man who was part of their lives for 7 years. She said it was almost like they were glad he was gone. She told them they should have been looking way more somber after he passed. She told them if they really didn't care, they clearly needed help because her husband loved them. I stepped in and told her to lay off the kids. They were kids. She told me to stop interfering in how she parents our kids. My daughter ended up getting mad at her mom and told her she wasn't sad he was gone. He was an ass and she had always hoped she would leave him. She stormed off and my son followed. Ex was going crazy and I yelled and told her to cut it out and to stop trying to make our kids perform a grieving routine over her husband. I told her they were trying to support her and she should be proud of them for that. She started yelling back at me about what an asshole I am, so I walked away. Am I the jerk? Edited to add more details on why my kids had issues with him. He spoke to them like they were soldiers and he was their commanding officer. That was how he spoke to his own kids too, barking orders at them. Also very strict on how they sat and stood. Posture was very tough on them regarding what extracurricular activities they wanted to do. He had his own ideas of what kids should do, and my son especially wasn't interested in the sport aspect, and that was not what my ex's late husband liked to hear. He also didn't believe kids should be helped with homework beyond kindergarten and did not like how the kids would react to seeing me during exchanges. He believed kids should act civilized at all times, and them taking off running and jumping into my arms was something he did not approve of, and said it to them, though not in front of me, after I told him it was what we do. Not the jerk, but why on earth does your ex think these kids would grieve for a man who was hard with them? Might be time to revisit custody agreement. Doesn't sound like the kids need that kind of emotional BS directed their way. OP's response: she never agreed that he was overly tough. He was the same with the two kids they shared from what I saw. She said he was just showing he cared. But I don't know many kids who would have warmed up to a step-parent like him. Not the jerk. People grieve in their own way. I knew my stepdad 20 years and he was very good to me. I did not cry until weeks later. It's not up to her to dictate how they should feel or force them to participate in a funeral. She got a dose of truth from you and the kids, which wouldn't have happened if she hadn't pushed. Am I the jerk for going to my brother's bachelor party? I, male 28, have a girlfriend, female 22, Nelly, and we have been dating close to a year at this point. We had a great relationship leading up to this point, and now I'm just shocked of the position we are now in. Nelly and I recently found out she was pregnant. It was shocking to say the least, because we weren't actively trying, because me and her were under the impression that she will never be able to naturally conceive children. She told me when she was younger she went through some horrible stuff, and in a result of that, the doctor told her she will never probably be able to have a kid of her own without medical intervention. So this was somewhat a miracle baby, and we were both fully prepared to have this baby, until she unfortunately miscarried. A broken bar. It was really horrible to say the least. She fell into a depression and I was sad too. 2 weeks later, I had a trip planned for my brother's bachelor's party. This was planned way before we even found out that she was pregnant. She told me how she didn't want me to go and that she still needs me, but I wasn't sure what she wanted me to do if I stayed. I told her I will be back in 3 days, and she seemed fine with that answer because she gave me the go-ahead. The day I was leaving she asked me, "Are you seriously actually going to go?" And I told her I had to, since the ticket and hotel is non-refundable. So I did end up going. The whole trip I barely heard from her, and I tried calling her and she just ignored me. I came home from the trip to our apartment and all of her stuff was gone, and she took my dog and dropped it off over my parents' house. I went to my mum's house and picked up my dog, and she told me my girlfriend dropped the dog off because she couldn't watch it and she needed space from me. A broken bar. I told my mom what happened and she told me I was an idiot and a jerk for what I did. I don't believe what I did was wrong by going on this trip. She told me I could go. I tried calling her to sort this out because I love her and I just been ignored so far. So am I the jerk? Edit. I get it, my spelling sucks. I wrote this at work. Second, I'm not blaming my girlfriend for me going to Vegas. I'm just simply saying she gave me an okay that I thought at that time she truly didn't care. Lastly, saying remarks regarding that her having a miscarriage was the best thing that could happen is extremely hurtful. You can say I'm a jerk without saying that. You're the jerk, especially for not having a more detailed conversation about this. She asked you to stay and you weren't sure what she wanted me to do if I stayed. How about talk to her about this before you just decide to go? He acts surprised that she didn't want him to go after she repeatedly asked him to stay. Pretty sure the last thing he wanted was knowing. He wants a plausible deniability. That is harder to obtain if she makes things more clear. You're the jerk. Seriously, one of the biggest jerks in existence. This comment said it all. If she told me straight up, this is a make it or break it decision for our relationship, then I would have definitely not went. She didn't present it as it was something important for me to stay. She told you that it was important to her that she stay, but she didn't tell you that it was important to you to stay. You thought it was okay to leave because she was the only person to deal with the fallout. But now that there are consequences to you, it's suddenly important. You were supposed to stay because you give a care about your partner, not because you are afraid of being single. Update from OP. I appreciate the feedback, even though very harsh, and I know I'm definitely in the wrong. I want to apologize to my girlfriend. I realized I messed up badly. She agreed to meet up with me later and talk. Would I be the jerk If I asked my sister not to bring her +1 throwaway account because my fiancé would unlive me if she knew I was writing this. I, 28 male, and my fiancé, 26 female, are getting married in 2 weeks. My sister, 20 female, asked if it would be okay to bring her significant other, 21 female, as her +1 to our wedding. At first I was completely fine with it. We're allowing other guests to bring their significant others. Plus, my sister doesn't have a close relationship with any of our family since coming out. I want my sister there on my wedding day, and if that means she feels like she needs her girlfriend there, then I'm okay with that. My fiancé on the other hand doesn't want my sister to bring her girlfriend because of her parents' beliefs. She says that her parents may feel uncomfortable seeing my sister and her girlfriend together. My fiancé and I got into an argument about it, and I told her that my sister should be able to bring her girlfriend to our wedding if she wants her there. My parents don't support her relationship either, but I'm not making a big deal out of it. Our wedding is not about our parents. My fiancé says that since her parents helped pay for majority of the wedding, they shouldn't have to feel uncomfortable. I'm feeling stuck here. I know my sister will comply to make us happy, but at the same time she will feel like we don't support her. If I let her bring her girlfriend, then my fiancé's family will be uncomfortable at the wedding they helped pay for. Would I be the jerk if I asked my sister not to bring her +1? You would be the jerk, setting the tone for all milestones in future. What happens if you have kids and birthday parties? Your sister gonna be told to leave her partner at home too to make others comfortable. This could also seriously fracture your relationship with your sister. Even if she would do it to comply, could cause resentment down the line. Not worth it. And honestly, as someone with siblings in the LGBT community, if my partner wasn't accepting and tried to pull this on me, I'd be having serious doubts. Accept me and my family's is all, thank you. Next. This. Sit down with your fiancé and talk about this. For how long will your sister be forbidden to bring her girlfriend to family events? Better to tell the parents now, so there will be comfort with the couple at the wedding. Or they could choose not to attend, if they wish. You would be the jerk. This is a hill I would die on. I don't care if your wedding is in 2 weeks or 2 minutes. You will be a jerk to choose your in-laws' money and their homophobia over your sister. Your fiancé has suckered you. She's known all along that your sister is gay and that her parents would be bothered, but she waited until the last minute to make this demand. She figures, you're so far along the road to getting married, you'll give in rather than call it off. Is this a person you want to be married to? She's either a homophobe herself or too in love with her parents' approval, their money to make independent decisions. What if the two of you had a gay child? Would she stand up for that kid, or sell them out to keep her parents happy?